Have you ever wanted to automatically book people into your calendar so that you can take calls or your team members can take calls and automatically send them reminders and follow-ups so that they don't forget about your calls and you increase your show-up rate? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this using GoHighLevel. Now, the first thing that you're going to go ahead and do is get yourself onto HighLevel. If you're already on HighLevel, go into your calendars and go into calendar settings. The very first thing that we need to do is create a new calendar so that you can take calls. Now, depending on what you want this call to be, you would choose one of these options. As a rule of thumb, I always go with a round robin just in case that later down the line, I have another team member that's also going to be taking these calls so that it books one after the other in succession so that we evenly split the calls amongst ourselves. So select this, add a name, add a team member, just add test calendar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 so that no one has taken it. And the best thing for you to do here is select advanced settings. Once you're here, you're going to go ahead and add a calendar logo. This is going to be something very small. Think about it as a favicon. It's not going to be very big, and do not add something that's not 1-to-1 ratio because it's going to be squished and it's going to look odd. If you want a description, add so here. Groups are another word for folders. So if you want to group a bunch of calls together, then you can do this. It's just purely for organizational purposes. Custom URL. This is the URL that's going to be shown to your clients if you use the GoHighLevel scheduling links. I do not use it. I do not recommend it because it looks absolutely scammy. And I just prefer creating a landing page so that I can attach my domain so that it looks a lot cleaner, a lot more trustworthy, and people immediately know what it is. Meeting invite title. This is what's going to show up on your calendar. So if you wanted to just show your client's name, add this. If you wanted to show exactly what call this is, then for example, put kick off call with contact name, and this is what's going to show up on your calendar. Appointment distribution, optimize for availability. Whoever's available, it'll just book them in. Optimize for equal distribution, quite simple. It's just going to allocate the calls equally between you and all of the other team members that are included in this calendar. Here, select team members. You can add any other team members besides yourself that you want to take these calls. Then over here at the bottom is where you're going to select your priority and where the meeting will take place. In my case, I usually have it on Zoom, but as I have a never-ending Zoom meeting link, I set it to custom and I just paste the meeting location or the link over here because I know that it's never going to change. It's a Zoom link that is always open. Anyone can join at any time. They'll be put in a waiting room, and then I have the power as the host to let them in or leave them in the waiting room. Lastly, on this page, the last thing that you're going to do is the event color. In this case, I usually select it to red if something is important. If it's not as important, I just go with a traffic light system. So red important, yellow, medium, green, not so important. Once you finish that, go ahead and hit save, and it'll take you to the next step, which is the availability page. Now here, you're going to scroll to the top. First thing that I usually recommend people do is select the days that you're available, and then go ahead and select the times. Now, if you want to copy one of these times for all the days or specific days, then go ahead and press this little button over here. And as you'll see, you'll get prompted to add this onto different days and just copy this time to the different days. If you want to add a lunch break or some sort of break halfway or at different points during the day, make sure that you select this, for example. And as you can see here, on Sundays, the calendar will be open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Then it will be an hour break, and at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the next slot where people can book themselves in. If you now go ahead and scroll down, next thing that you can do is you can look busy. So what happens here is that you can look busy X% of the slots. So let's say that in a week you have 100 slots open. If you set this to 50%, then 50% of those are going to look like they're booked out so that it looks like you have some calls going on. If you wish for this to be a recurring meeting, so that let's say you have a client that's going to have a call with you every single week at the same day at the same time, then go ahead and turn this on and you can do all of the settings over here for that. But for the purpose of this video, let's assume this is, for example, an introduction call. Meeting interval is how often you want these calls to happen. So 30 minutes will be 4:30, 5, 5:30, 6, 6:30, and so on and so forth. If you set this to 60 minutes, then it will be 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on and so forth. Meeting duration, pretty self-explanatory. Minimum scheduling notice is how far or how much time of notice you need before people are able to book in a call. Usually I have this set between 2 hours to 24 hours, depending on what I need to prepare for the call. Or if I'm away, I know that in 2 hours I'm able to get back home and get on a call. So 2 hours is the minimum that I allow. Date range, I usually have this set to 3 days. This just means how far away people can book in a call with you. If this is a free call or an introduction call, I would highly recommend that you make this date range as small as possible. The reason being that, first of all, you don't want people booking in 2 months away, because trust me, they are going to forget. And second of all, you want to get people on a call as soon as possible, because if they're interested right now, they're going to be interested in a day, 2 or 3 days away. I'm not sure if they're going to be interested months down the line. So keep this very, very short. Unless, of course, people are already paying you, in which case I like to set this to around 10 days away, so that if someone has a very busy schedule, they're able to book in advance. As they're paying, I'm pretty sure they are going to show up. Maximum bookings per day, pretty self-explanatory again. How many calls you want to take every single day. Maximum bookings per slot per user. Not even sure why they allow this. This would just allow you to have 2 calls at the same time, but as it's per user, it doesn't really make sense. No one user can have 2 calls at the same time, because you can't really duplicate yourself and take 2 calls with 2 different people. So just set this to 1. Every single team member that is on here will be able to get 1 call per booking per slot. Pre-buffer time, this is if you want this meeting to start 5 minutes before, for example, for you to get ready or something. Post-buffer time, this is usually in case the meeting goes over. Once you hit save again, it will take you to the forms and payments section. Now on this page, again, we're going to scroll up. Here, the most important thing is the select form. In this case, I have a bunch of forms that you can select for different things. For example, if you want to pre-qualify leads before they book in a call to make sure that you're getting on a call with the right lead, then you would create a form with some certain questions and you would select it here, so that before someone is able to book in a call with you, they have to answer these pre-selected questions, which are required for them to book in a call. If some questions are answered in a way that you don't want them to be answered in, then you can have an automation that detects it and automatically cancels the call depending on those questions. Next up, leave everything as is. You don't really need to bother with anything else. Auto confirm new calendar meetings. This is the only thing that you're probably going to want to change on this page. What this means is that if this is turned on and someone books in a call with you, Google or Outlook will automatically send them an invite for the meeting. If this is turned on, Google or Outlook will automatically go ahead and mark it down as yes, they are going to make it to the call. If you're getting high no-show rates, you may want to consider turning this off and sending a message a couple hours or a day before the appointment, asking them to confirm that they're going to be coming to the call. If this is off, even if someone books in a call with you, the slot will not be blocked off of your calendar until that person goes ahead and accepts the calendar meeting invite on Google or on Outlook. So as you can imagine, if you're getting a lot of calls and your no-show rate is quite high, this will prevent people that aren't going to show up from blocking out time that someone else could use to come and have a call with you. Lastly, payment. If this is a call that's paid, let's say it's a one-on-one coaching call and you want to take payment for it, or a prepayment deposit so that people show up to the call, then you're going to have to go ahead and connect your Stripe. In this case, it's a test account, so I don't have my Stripe connected. But if you did, you would be able to turn on accept payments, and you would be able to select exactly how much you want people to pay to be able to hop on this call with you. And when they come to book in the call, you will be able to get their credit card details and charge them for that call. We're going to hit save again, and next we're going to go into notifications and additional options. Now, recently, GoHighLevel has just brought some updates to the calendars, which give you some more notification options. As of right now, the only 2 things that are turned on are the appointment booked status unconfirmed and confirmed. In this case, if it's automatically confirmed on the previous page, then you will automatically get a notification that this appointment has been booked and confirmed. However, if you want to receive a notification, be it via email or in app, for cancellation, a reschedule, a reminder, or a follow-up, then make sure to select the pen icon here. Now, what you're going to do here is you're going to select which one of these or both of these you want to receive and who you want to receive. You can receive it, your team members can receive it, and your contact can receive it as well. So this is a very basic version of the reminder automations, which I'll show you in just a minute. Once you finish that, make sure to go ahead and hit save so that GoHighLevel remembers what you've selected, and then you're able to now scroll down to the next set of options. Now, very important here, you want to tick allow Google/Outlook calendar to send invitation and update emails to attendees. This is where Google or Outlook will automatically send them that calendar invite where they can accept, decline, or reschedule right on their calendars so that it's firmly booked into their calendar. So make sure that you tick this and make sure that you assign contacts to their respective calendar team members each time an appointment is booked. What this means is that if you have many people in your team that are taking this call, if this is ticked, every time that someone books in a call with someone else, they will be assigned to that other team member. And what happens is that that team member will be alerted of the call, and whenever there's a change, that team member will also receive a notification. If you don't have this ticked and they're assigned to you, but they book in with a team member, then your team member is not going to receive any sort of notifications and they won't know of a call that's happening unless they check their calendar on GoHighLevel. If you don't want to assign a contact if they're already assigned to someone else, then make sure that you just tick skip assigning. Next up, you have cancellation and reschedule policy. I usually always have these ticked on and I do not expire the links at all. Expiring the links means that if I have this set to 5 minutes here, if 5 minutes before the call, they wish to reschedule or cancel their call, they will not be able to do so. However, I argue that I prefer someone to reschedule or cancel the call than not show up at all. So I do not have this expiring at all. I always allow them to reschedule or cancel. Additional notes, this is something that GoHighLevel will put in to that Google or Outlook calendar invite so that they see this whenever they go into their calendar so that they can reschedule or they can cancel or they can contact you via phone or email. Once you finish this, hit save and we'll go on to the last step, which is customizations. Here is where you can completely change the look of your calendar. Now, what I usually do is I don't play around with this too much. The first thing that I do is I change the color of the calendar over here. This is the accent color. The background color I usually leave as white. Button text, this is the text that's going to show up when they select the day and the time that they want to meet with you. And then lastly, if you have a calendar title that you want your clients to see, take this on or off. Calendar description, if you don't have any description, turn this off to make it look cleaner. And then calendar details, the same thing. Now, if you want to look at what the calendar looks like, before actually saving it and sending it to anyone, just hit preview calendar and this will open on a new tab, showing you exactly what the calendar looks like. Now, again, as I mentioned, that blue over here is the accent color that you can see over here. If I were to change it to yellow, this ball over here, this blue ball over here, and this blue over here would change to yellow. So just keep that in mind and preview like so. If you want, lastly, your members, your clients, or your leads to select exactly who they want to have a call with, go ahead and tick this allow staff selection during booking. And what will happen is that they'll have a drop-down menu that they can select who they want to have a call with. If this goes unselected, it's just randomly going to use the round robin in this case and select the next team member in line to take the call. Once you finish this, just hit save and we're going to move on to the automation section. So now that you're here back on the calendar setting page, one thing that's very important that a lot of people don't realize is that you're now inside of the settings. And although it says automation here on the left, if you press it, you're going to be bamboozled because you're going to come onto this page and you're not going to understand what the hell is actually showing here. There's no sort of automations here. There's no way that you can create an automation. Again, you're in the settings. So you need to hit go back on the top left and then you hit automation in this menu here, which is not the settings. And this is what you're going to see. Now I have a bunch of automations preloaded into this account, but what we're going to do is we're going to create a workflow on the top right and you're going to select from scratch. Now, HighLevel already comes with a bunch of automations, including one of reminders. But for those of you that want to make something more custom or that you want to make something from scratch, I will show you here how you can do this by yourself. So the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is turn on this automation so that we don't forget to do so in the future. So take it from draft to publish on the top right. Then we're going to change the name of this automation to call reminders. Now, the first thing that we need to do is select a trigger. Now, in this case, you're going to select customer booked appointment. You're going to add a filter. You're going to select in calendar, and you're going to select which calendar they booked it in. If you do not specify which calendar you want it to trigger, then anytime anyone books in any sort of call, this automation will trigger. So if you're like me that highly customizes the reminder messages and includes the name of the call, as you can imagine, if someone books in a discovery call and all of a sudden they start receiving emails or SMSs about an introduction call, they're going to be a little bit confused. So please make sure that you select which calendar you want this to look at. And once you finish, just press Save Trigger. Now, once you've saved the trigger, what I want you to go ahead and do is on the top right-hand corner, you'll see that the Save button has a red dot. Every time there's a red dot there, it means you have unsaved changes that you must save before you leave. Now, I know that we've just pressed the Save Trigger button. However, unless you press this Master Save button on the top right-hand corner, if you then leave or you close your tab, everything that you've just done is going to be lost. So don't make this mistake. Trust me, I've already created huge automations only to then exit out of them and forget to press this button, and I lost everything. So save yourself a lot of headaches and just press the Save button on the top right. And after that, you're able to leave and come back and continue where you left off of. Now, the very first thing that I like to do is I like to send myself an internal notification. Now, HighLevel already does this automatically, but just in case, I like to always make sure that I have a backup just in case. And here is what I usually do. I select internal notification, type of notification, I select notification. This will happen through the InPhone app. And I now am going to type in a new title. So for example, custom values, contact, first name so that I know exactly who it was, booked in a test call. Usually what I do is I copy it, I put it here, and then if I want to be a little bit more specific, I go into appointment, start date, time, and it's going to also give me that information. The only thing that we have to do that I forgot was redirect page when you press that notification where you want HighLevel to take you. Usually I do it to conversation as that gives me the most amount of information possible. And then to user, this is where assigning them to the user is very important. You're going to select either all users, a particular user, or user assigned to the contact, which is what I usually do, and save action. And then up top, save action again. Once we do that, I usually select send an email and I make this the confirmation email, letting them know that their call has been booked. Now keep in mind, whenever someone books in a call, HighLevel automatically sends them an email confirmation. So technically you do not need this. However, that email that gets sent is very systemized. It doesn't look personalized at all, and I like to go above and beyond and personalize everything. So what I do is I just write an email seeming like I'm the one that wrote it with custom values that take their name and all of their details and send them that email. So I send them an email confirmation and then I start with the reminders. And usually what I do is a 2-day reminder, a 1-day reminder, 2 hours and 15-minute reminders. So what we're gonna do first is a 2-day reminder. Now, one thing that's very important is when you select the wait for, usually by default, it's time delay. We cannot use time delay. What we need to do is a time based off of the event/appointment time. And the reason for this is that we can select how long before we want HighLevel to wait before it goes to the next step. So in this case, what we do is select before, months, no, days, we select 2. And then if the timing is already in the past, what should HighLevel do? In this case, it should skip all outbound communications until the next wait event. What this means is that let's say I book in a call for tomorrow. There's no sense in you sending me a 2-day reminder because I'm going to be confused thinking that our call is 2 days away. And so what happens is that you can select this to skip if it's in the past. So if it's a day away, GoHighLevel will know that it's a day away. It'll know that it shouldn't wait until 2 days before. So instead of sending them the next email or the next SMS reminding them that the call is 2 days away, it's just going to skip those and go to the next wait step of 1 day. So here we're gonna save action. Then we're gonna send them an email. If you guys also send people, I'm just gonna duplicate this. If you guys also collect their phone numbers and want to send them an SMS, then also send them an SMS. I highly recommend you do this because it's an extra touch point and it's always good to have to increase your show rate. Next up, we're going to add a wait step again, and again, we're going to select event, but here we're going to do 1 day. Again, you're going to select skip all outbound communications, and you are going to repeat the process. Now, what I like to do is just copy all actions from here, and then paste it underneath. So as you can see, it repeats the email, the SMS that you can just go in, edit it to be the 1 day reminder, and then you can do the same with the SMS and move on to the 2-hour reminder. Here, the only thing you're going to select is change the day and add 2 hours to the time. Again, skip all outbound communications and save action. Now, the last thing that you're going to want to do is copy this once more, paste it underneath it, edit this email and edit this SMS for a 2-hour confirmation. And lastly, we're going to do the 15-minute wait. Now, odds are that the minimum scheduling notice that you selected on the previous step inside of the calendar was at least 2 hours and at least longer than 15 minutes. So every single person that's going to come through this automation is bound to receive at least the 15-minute reminder. So what I like to do is here, I select before 15 minutes and I move to the next step. So even if GoHighLevel thinks that the booking is less than 15 minutes away, it will still send them this reminder just to be safe, because this reminder is going to send them the meeting link through email and through SMS. So this is it. We're just going to add the last email and also the last SMS. And just like that, you're going to hit publish and save. And now your automation is set to go. Every time someone books in that call on that calendar that we selected and we created at the start of this call, this automation will get triggered. You're going to receive an internal notification. They're going to receive a confirmation, and they're going to receive all of the reminders in 2 days, 1 day, 2 hours, and 15 minutes before, so that you increase your show up rate and people know exactly at what time and where the meeting takes place. Now, for those of you that are sending SMS reminders or SMS blasts to your clients or leads, you need to be A2P verified. So if you're struggling to get A2P verified, or you don't know how to get verified but want to do so in the very first attempt, then make sure to watch this video over here, because I break down step by step exactly what you need to do to get verified in the first try, to reduce your headaches and to reduce the amount of money you spend to get your number verified.